Welcome to Force for Growth. I'm Ricardo.
I'm Courtney. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we are going to be talking about that lovely thing we all sometimes do, overcommitting. So, we got
Ooh.
a lot to talk about, don't we?
Overcommitting, Courtney. How
Yes,
often do we overcommit?
a lot more than we realize.
Hold on. If you're listening, if you've ever overcommitted and underdelivered, raise your hand. I have my hand up,
I have my
Courtney.
hand up.
Yeah, we're all guilty of this. I can't believe we haven't done an episode on overcommitting, to tell
I
you the
know.
truth.
Yeah.
But we're here, we're doing it, and let's chat it up. Why do we overcommit? Why do you overcommit, Courtney?
Because we want to do a great job. We want to help everyone. We have this idea of who we are, right? And this person in our brain of who we are always, is able to say yes to every opportunity and do this and do this. And, at the end of the day, they're ahead on their work, even though they took on all these other commitments. So there are so many levels of us wanting, I think it's because we want love. We want to prove ourselves. So it
Is it
comes
people
from a
pleasing?
very, yes. Oh, yes, it is. Yeah. The
Overcommitting,
ladies need to
people pleasing?
take a, yeah, more
I
a
think so too.
intervention with the ladies, but the guys definitely are affected by it, so I don't wanna leave the guys out.
For me, I overcommit because one, I feel that I can actually do it. Two, it's because sometimes I get caught up and get like peacocky, like, yes, I can do it. I can do it. Oh
Yes.
yeah, I got enough juice. I got the community. I got enough influence. This is going to be a piece of cake,
Mhm.
right? And
And then
that's
is it a piece of cake?
oh no, it's not.
Speaking of
It
cake,
never is.
Jessie's last comment was really good. She said, "I think for me, it's a challenge to see if I can add yet another thing to my plate." So, once again, it's like we're going to the buffet and filling up our plate and filling up our plate, but it's funny, we never, like, take food off our plate, right?
We never do. No, we just add and add and add.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's another part to the overcommitting. We talked about a little bit about the people pleasing. We'll circle back around to it. The scheduling.
Yeah.
Oh, like if you don't
Yeah.
keep a good schedule, you're going to end up overcommitting because you don't remember what you have already committed to.
Yeah, and learning what schedule method works best for yourself. That's not something that's really taught in school like it should be, but it's something, we talked about it yesterday on the morning call. Some of us like a physical calendar, some of us like a digital calendar, some of us like a hybrid of both, and it just very like these so many different methods, but I feel like this halts a lot of people and they're like, "Oh, I'm spontaneous. I don't like to plan," and some other BS excuse. Come on. But we
Yes.
just haven't learned the style that works for us or explored different scheduling methods. But oh, this is a big one. And Tony Robbins, it until you schedule it, it's not real, right? So you got to schedule
Schedule it.
something. Schedule
Yeah.
something, make it happen.
Oh, this is good. Someone in the Facebook group, unfortunately, I can't see who it is, but someone in the Facebook group said, it's hard to say you don't have the time or bandwidth. Enter ego.
Very good point. Yeah. Very egoic.
Ego, very egoic to say, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. The ego's job is
Everybody,
literally
everybody wants to be the hero. Everybody wants to be the person that supports everyone and is there for everyone and helps everyone.
mhm.
But you can't help everyone if you're helping everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Like
hold on. Let me say it again. You can't help anyone if you're helping everyone.
that makes more sense, although
It does.
yeah. And the change the world culture, the other one made sense too. But yeah, it's ego will literally make up problems to solve them just to be the hero. So I'm not saying all you wanting to contribute to the world is ego because that's not fact. The smaller you that wants to be the hero so others will pat you on the back, that absolutely is your ego and coming from a I'd say fearful place or proving your worth place. But yeah, but like the ego will come in and make up problems just to solve them. But if you look back at the last 10 minutes, did a problem ever happen? No, but you went on this story, this movie in your head, this adventure that like created this big problem. And then you think of five solutions and then you're sweating and you're like, okay, well, I got to call this person and do this and move this money. Like, breathe.
Breathe and
You
stop.
actually have
Okay.
a problem right now, you know?
That was Chris. That was our buddy Chris DeSantos. Our
Oh,
buddy Chris.
hey, Chris.
Yes. He
Always
just
dropping
texted
the
me
wisdom
and
bombs.
he's like, "Hey, that was me." LOL. I'm like, "Well, now I know." Give it yeah, Chris, thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
Okay. Overcommitting, under delivering.
Mm.
Ooh,
We never
man.
plan it that way, right?
What did we plan for?
We plan.
If we're not planning for overcommitting and under delivering, what are we actually planning for?
We are planning to it's the idea that future you has more time, that future you has more energy. Like, it's okay. I'll get back up tomorrow and change it all. Which I'm not saying you can't. I pause. I do not want to say you can't. I'm just saying let's maybe be more realistic so it's a long-term effect, not these little spurts of where you take on so much, get overwhelmed, burn out on everything, stop, quit, restart, take on too much, burn out, quit. We got to stop that cycle. So it doesn't matter how many times you've done it or what position you're in right now. You need to take a step back and look at what your pattern is because we all have these tendencies. But where is it holding you back? Where is it making you weak? Where is it making you strong? Ricardo is quite relentless, like, he could chart like, we could channel that charge energy into so much,
It's so
but
tiring though.
it's also yeah, it also
It
has a
wears you
limit,
out. There's a
you know?
limit.
Your gas tank's a certain size, it's not limitless. Our abilities are limitless when we nourish the right areas, right? We ourselves are not limitless energy.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
that gas tank is definitely not limitless.
Yeah.
Faux show.
Yeah,
Faux
right.
show.
If
Yeah,
only.
but sometimes you just have to just push through it, drink some caffeine, energy drinks, and move on about your
Cheers.
business. All
Mhm.
right. You just have to push through.
Right.
But I think I will say this. Let me add a little something to it because I think we're just beating up on the word overcommitment. I feel like we're bringing it down to its knees and it's gonna cry in tears. I think when you overcommit, it does come from a place of helping someone and doing something good for yourself and doing something good for other people. I don't think it comes from a mean or evil place,
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Thank you for going there.
right?
What Okay, so will you take me back to an overcommitment lesson?
Oh my goodness.
Either recently or
Woo!
in the past, you can pick
Okay.
anything.
Okay, here's one. Okay, we're on Instagram and Facebook at Force for Growth. Instagram has really been blowing up for us. Make sure you go follow us.
Yeah,
Yes. At Force for
definitely.
Growth on Instagram. And so I committed to creating memes and videos and like promotional material for the podcast. And man, I got behind. I had to hire a virtual assistant to help me to get that stuff rolling, you know, and I overcommitted. I
Mhm.
overcommitted because I came in really hot and heavy with it. I came in really hot and heavy and said, "Yes, Courtney, this is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. Be looking for all this splurge on social media on our Instagram and Facebook and share, share, share and like. We're really going to grow it over there and we're going to get people from the podcast and all this other stuff." And then I got behind. So
Yeah.
what what
It's
about
that
you, Courtney?
Okay, so my biggest overcommitment lesson is that I get myself in positions where I get down the road so obsessed with the commitment I've made that I don't realize I don't want it anymore. I don't want it anymore. Like, this isn't a priority. This doesn't fill me up. This doesn't drive me. This doesn't bring me happiness and joy, list of things. But I get so obsessive in certain realms that when I look up, I'm like, oh my goodness, you're still doing this, and this that you don't want. This isn't priority. This is taking you away from your family. So I kind of have those wake up moments where I look up and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how did you get this far down the path? So I think that's why I'm such a big fan of stop check in with yourself because I'm guilty of not doing that for far too long.
So let's dive a little bit deeper.
Okay.
Like you overcommit and you're going, and then you burn out or you realize it's not for you, or what is it actually? Go a little bit more detail about that.
It's usually an emotional reaction to something that triggers me to kind of look up. I think it's a combination of burnout. Now, I'm a high achiever, so I think of very beautiful phrases when I'm burnt out. I'm like, oh, well, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm just maximized. I got this. This is going to push me, which some of that's true. Pushing through, learning in the hard times definitely grows you quick. But is it okay? Is this necessary? Is this even helpful? So I think usually it's an emotional breakdown of some kind that I'm like, oh, I just need to like disappear for a day or go to bed at 5 p.m. So at those times, I now have learned to listen to myself and to sit quietly with myself and be like, okay, what's going on? What do I need to know? Just sit there and be open to receive whatever messages. What will you have me know? What will you have me do? Who will you have me be? Simple prayers, Gabby Bernstein.
So where's the
Beautiful.
line? Because there's a line. I'm seeing. Here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm hearing, and here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a scale of one, -5 to 10. No, -5 to +5 with 0 in the middle, right? And -5 is everything you just described. Like, it's not for me. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed, right?
Mhm.
But where
Like,
it
where's the line?
yeah, where's the line? Because at some point,
Okay.
maybe it's like, okay, I'm just tired. Maybe it's just too hard. Maybe I don't know, because
Yeah.
sometimes we will make up these things in our head, right? We will make up something in our head to justify us quitting,
Mhm.
or we don't want to feel bad about stopping something that we were so passionate and gun ho about, and let's do it, right?
Yeah.
So there's something there that we can justify anything, and that's one of the
Mhm.
things that I'm really always cautious of with self-development and improvement in our podcast and books, is because we can use it for evil too. This is a
Yeah.
whole other episode, but
Yeah.
we can use
Good
the
point,
tools
though.
that we're learning in order to justify, anything that we want to justify.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
where do you know? How do you know you're not just justifying the quit, and that it's actually not resonating with you anymore, versus
Okay.
just pushing through for a couple of more days or weeks or months to get to the other side of it?
When my balloon is totally deflated on something, like it's not full, I don't even have the desire to blow it back up. Like I'm like, no. When my balloon is full and when it's a moment in time where I need to do something to up the ante or to up it, and then I tell myself no. Like no. No. You know, and that I've gotten a lot better about reading it. I'm still not great at it. But yeah, if I slip into the justifying to myself, because it all starts in your own head. Okay. So everything you say outward to people, like if you're already justifying and making excuses outward to other humans, whoo, you're already in a dangerous zone. But when you start to do that to yourself, it's okay. Here's one. When I feel guilty for literally like stopping doing anything at 8 p.m. on a Friday night. And I'm like, what am I forgetting? What am I this? What am I this? Okay, so I did disappear for a while and go just checked out and went and had a day off. And I literally was laying there trying to watch TV and I'm like, what are you forgetting? You could be doing this right now. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And so that's where, a big talk with my mom. And I'm like, how do I shake this guilt? I don't even have children yet, you guys. Like the motherly instinct's not even activated. So it's like, I don't know how mothers do it and wear all these hats at once and still relax. So yeah, I've lately in this last quarter, I found it highly alarming that I struggle with not doing anything. So, what's the antidote for that? I sit still and I force myself to sit still and it's awkward. I'll be honest, you guys, it's awkward. Like, I don't know what to watch on TV. I don't know what to pull up on YouTube, Audible, these things don't catch my interest lately. Well, I know that means I need to go inward. So just practice being quiet or not having music blaring in my house, little things that just I used to lean on for comfort to hide from my own thoughts. Now I'm like, okay, well, let's just sit here and see. And I'm still struggling with that, but I'm getting better at the quiet and then this and but I'm trying to slip into that idea of that I don't have to be doing something every time. And that, yeah, a great point my mother did point out. One of the hats we need to wear is relaxing. Like, one of the hats we need to wear is sitting still sometimes, right? Some of us call it meditating, some of us call it other things. So, why isn't that a priority hat that you should wear? So anyway, that's a trip
So
into Courtney's brain in the last few months.
so when the balloon deflates, you describe the balloon deflating, right?
Yeah.
Do you give it another chance or is it just one and done?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I'll try, 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 try. Okay, so I'm a tourist, so I'm a bull. So I'll try and try and try, and then I just either
Okay.
stop or I attack.
Okay, so it's not just one point of being deflated, it's several points where the project, the
Yeah.
situation, the whatever is just continuously deflating.
Yeah. I'm gonna do my part until I know, should I quit this or should I give up that? I can sleep at peace at night because it wasn't truly a priority. I don't give
Got
up
it.
on my priorities. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And that's really the distinction I was looking for is it one and done where because you're
Yeah.
gonna if I'm looking at what my big projects, even this podcast, even these recordings, man, there's been some days I didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
That I had to really pump myself up and get myself excited about being here and doing it again. Right. And it's like, let me just text Courtney and tell her we're gonna skip today. Okay. But I don't.
Yeah.
I chug through it and we get it done. Right. But I think that's normal. I think that's normal that you feel that way. And it would have been really easy for me to say, hey, okay, I'm having these feelings, and that just means that the podcast is not resonating with me anymore. And da 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 da. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
For just a moment.
Well, let's be real.
And
There've been times where literally I've been crying with you on the phone at podcast record time, and that's why we had to record later. Like, it
but we still
happens.
got it done.
We got it done. We
We
got
still
through.
got it done.
And thank
But
goodness we're the personalities that would not let each other quit but
and that's the
that was
thing
also a
though,
plan.
like where's the line of like, okay, is if it just continues just being harder and harder, which is good to stretch yourself and grow, versus okay, this is not resonating with me. Those signals are just so close to each other,
Yeah.
right? They're so close to each other to where it's almost in this it's just such a fine line there.
I also think that's a fine line that is taken advantage of so much in
Oh
personal
yeah.
development. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
for
worthy of
sure.
noting right now.
For
Yeah.
sure. And again, that's a whole other topic with
Yeah.
the personal development and justifying things. But to stay on topic, and that's where I really wanted to get to because I don't feel like that every day. I don't feel like, oh, another recording. Like if
Yeah.
I felt like that for 3 weeks straight, it'd be like, okay, something's really
We'd
got to
have to
change
talk.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's like a day here and there, maybe a couple of days in a row and then not for a few days or weeks, then it's like, okay, that's okay. But it's so easy to fall into that and be like, oh, the universe is talking to me and telling me that this is not for me. No,
Yeah. The
you're gonna
universe
have it.
also made you resourceful. So,
You're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have a bad day here and there, right?
yeah.
Because every project that you take on, every task that you take on, it's not gonna be sunflowers and unicorns. And you're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have a day where you don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Like Gary V, the king of the being consistent.
Yeah.
Do you think he feels like doing it every day? Now he's got a whole team, so it's a lot
Right.
easier for him. But I would be willing to bet that even there's one day every once in a while where he's like,
Mhm.
okay, you know,
Yeah.
but
And
I had
he
to get up and do it anyways.
But what's his focus? So he would even tell you, like, yes, his focus is to buy the New York Jets. Okay. But the bigger focus, he even talks about it in just about every video, is his actual love for the process, his actual love for the adventure, his actual high he gets because he still sells things he picks up from garage sales on eBay.
Correct.
Like, he doesn't need to, he gets a high from it. So that's why it's still a priority. Like, every other billionaire might look at him and be like, "What are you doing? Like, come on."
He might still feel though like,
Yeah,
oh,
but
do I really have to go to another garage sale? Then he looks at his schedule and it's like, okay, if I don't go today, it's not going to happen for another 2 months, and we have
yeah.
deadlines to meet.
And
So
so there's different ways to meet it, but like what is so awesome about Gary Vee and folks like him that say they actually love the process. So if you are no longer loving the process, well, one, it's what are you focused on and how are you approaching that? So I think there's two factors there, but reanalyze what you are focusing on if you're only focusing on $1 million in the bank, it's going to be a lot longer till you have it. I'm sorry to break the news to you, but it's not about that. Although there are many thousands of things you can do to get $1 million in the bank, right? Whereas if you focus on the value you can give to as many individuals as you possibly can in any way that you possess the abilities or can learn the skills to do so, if you focus on that, you're going to enjoy the process a lot more. But your reticular activating system, while you're going through it, is going to be focusing on, is this still a priority? Is this not? Does this give me value? Because you're focused on giving others value. So it's all relative. And I think that's just what I see when I look at Gary Vee, and I love it because the passion shows. He gets fired up. He
He
doesn't care
does.
what you think. Like
He
it
does it.
shows.
But everyone's going to have a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's going to feel like not doing it that day.
Yeah.
And that
And that's
doesn't mean that you overcommitted. It means that you're just having a bad day.
mm,
It means that you're just not full of energy that day. Maybe something else is going on. Life is happening. But
mm,
that doesn't mean that you're overcommitting.
yeah.
That
And
doesn't
there's
mean that it's time to quit. That doesn't mean it's time to do something else. It's not that doesn't mean it's time to pivot.
yeah.
You got to stick it out a little bit. It's not just a one and done.
Yeah. Rest, don't quit.
Rest, don't quit. Now, if this is continuous over and over and over again,
Yeah.
if this is continuous over and over and over again, right, then yes, you are overcommitting. This is something that you probably don't need to be doing. This is
Mhm.
something that you need to move on from,
Yeah.
right?
I'm public service announcement, it is okay to quit what no longer serves you.
I
Like,
mean,
I
look
don't
at the
think
word
that's said enough.
overcommitting.
Yeah.
Overcommitting has the word quit in it.
Dang. It does. Yeah. Yeah. So you literally like, oh, it's this whole, like, don't give up thing. Like, once again, is it your ego driving you or is it your heart driving you right now? Are you coming from an ego like, "I'll show them, they'll be impressed by me," or like, "No, I just need to take this day off, pick it up tomorrow. This is absolutely something I wanna do." Like, it's a pure feeling that but, like, if it is I don't know, there's so many things in life, like, all kinds of things. If it is not resonating with your core anymore, you're not doing the right thing if you're ignoring it. And I don't know what
And it's
that
time to
means. So
quit.
it's just if you are working for that person that you hate for the ninth year in a row and you're like, I need to leave them, I da da da, like all this stuff, like that's not a job you need to stick out. That's something we'd all vote like,
Correct.
hey, let's find another one. So be careful how you define quitting because you're quitting on you when you give yourself away for free and don't honor that in yourself and quit what needs to be quit. Okay? Like
Quit.
that's you
Yeah.
quitting on you. That's the
Yeah.
ultimate failure. So don't
And
do that.
it's okay to break that commitment. In that case, it's okay to break that commitment. It's okay to say this isn't for me and I'm going to go ahead and just stop doing this. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. So we're just talking a little bit different aspects about overcommitting here, right? I think maybe we strayed a little bit off topic, but we're bringing it back into
Yes.
overcommitting
Thank you.
because this is important. It's important to talk about, right? Because sometimes
It
we
is.
do feel like we're overcommitting, but we're not necessarily overcommitting. We're
Yeah. Oh,
just fulfilling our commitment.
okay. A question to bring it back on topic. So when somebody asks you something and you can't do it, how do you respond?
Oh
Like, what's a
man,
tip for that? Like, how do you stop this when it's step one,
I'm
not
the
you're
worst
10 steps
one.
in?
You're asking the wrong person, Courtney, because
No.
I like
So
to
I
say
put you on the
yes.
spot.
Um, I've been getting better at that. I've been getting better at that, but I look at my calendar, I look at the situation, and I'm continuously learning what my limits are. I'm continuously learning. So we had another thing that we were going to start selling some tickets for, and this and that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll be able to sell 10 tickets of that in a week, right? 2 weeks or whatever it was, right? And
Mhm.
then once I got started going into the process of doing it, I was like, oh man, it's a little bit harder sell than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I had to call my partner in this venture and I said, hey, I don't think we're too far that deep into it yet. Let's reschedule, let's regroup, let's get some more time here. Let's redo it. So we rescheduled everything and it was a weight off my shoulders.
Mm.
It was a
That's how
weight
you know.
like yeah, I was like because it was getting very stressful.
Yeah.
Because there were deadlines that had to be met, rooms that were getting booked, things like that, and it was just getting very stressful for me. And
Mhm.
I had to step back, look at the situation, and say, "Hey, it's not going to happen this time. It's not going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Right now is not the time to be doing this."
Mhm.
And that's again, we talked a little bit earlier about ego making these decisions, and that was my ego saying, "I can do it. Yeah, I can sell these tickets. Yeah, I can make this happen."
Yeah.
Right? And I should have said no. I should have said no, no, not right now. We need to do it later on in the year and give us more time so it's not stressful. But I didn't say no.
Mhm.
So saying no is definitely a skill
Yeah,
when it
it is.
comes to overcommitting.
I do
And so
wanna
that's another case where I overcommitted and should have said no.
That's a great lesson. Well, thank you for all your
What
efforts. They're
what
always
about you?
appreciated, but yeah. Okay, I did wanna bring up Michelle Martini real quick because she has taught us both a lot about commitment and kind of how she gauges in her body when she knows it's not something she needs to go for. But anyway, my point is she always reminds us if it's not a hell yes, by default it's a hell no. And so if you've never heard that phrase, I believe it was Rachel Hollis, but Michelle Martini loves that one. And I love her for getting that in my head because it really helps the distinction up front. Now there are some things you don't know and you need to try out, right? Okay, but me, let's see, my overcommitment. I'd say I'm the opposite. Oh, I'm gonna use the date with Destiny from last year. I wasn't able to say yes to things that were happening in the next week because of ways I'd gotten myself behind for the prior few weeks before that. But I've seen a really big turnaround in this last few months with myself because I don't know, there's something that's changed where when somebody's asking me something, I know, do I wanna I can support them, I can join them, I could say, "No, thank you," So there's different levels where I don't necessarily have to tell you no. You don't necessarily have to say yes. A great chat with a friend yesterday, and basically I committed to some things, committed to help with some things. And at the same time, it floods my brain. I'm like, oh, but you're okay. You're doing this, and then you're doing this, and then you have podcasts, you have your job still. And so I just had that check in with myself. It's like, is this a priority? Yes. Is this a priority? Yes. Do I want to help her? Yes. Done. I can figure out how to make it happen. But I've also eliminated a lot of stuff that, because I'm practicing sitting still, I'm practicing quiet time. So I've made that time and space in my schedule, but I got to structure it. I got to schedule it right. Right. So that part of the growth is still there where I'm like, where am I going to fit this in? But there's a will, there's a way. And I also just won't give up making me a priority because clearly I'm going through something that I need to just honor and pay attention to my emotions right now, see what they're teaching me, what they're telling me.
The key word there is priority. If you make it a priority, is it really an overcommitment? Not yet.
That's true.
Not yet. I
It's a
don't
great
think it's immediately an overcommitment when you make something a priority. Can
Yeah.
it turn into an overcommitment? Obviously, yes. And then some choices need to be made. What's a higher priority, this or this?
Hmm.
Ooh, and then those are choices that we don't like to make.
That's true. How many of us are walking around with like 20 top priorities? Like you can
Oh,
only have one top priority.
yeah.
Everything else, like, come on. And most of it's our family. So it's like there was a moment where, like, anyway, a few days ago, I had to just up and leave work to family emergency and panic. But it's like suddenly when something happens and you have those moments that make you realize what is truly important, all those other problems and things and to-dos, they find a way to work themselves out. So when you
Yes.
can't get back to them, I don't know, it's just interesting how we twist that in our head, like these things only need us. There's people around you that can help. Like, okay, it was a lot less to hire that virtual assistant than you thought, right?
It was a lot less
Delegating can be a
and
lot
definitely
easier than you
saving
thought.
me a lot of time.
Yes. And stress.
Jesse asked, can you foresee an overcommitment?
Ooh. Yes and no. You need to be in tune with yourself. You need to know what's up with yourself to gauge that. But yeah, the
I
better
said
you get,
yes.
you can see
I
it.
said yes. I can foresee an overcommitment. but
Yeah.
I still think I can do it because I'm Ricardo.
You can't foresee every overcommitment because it's within the
Oh,
word. You
this last
literally
year,
are, like, running and you trip on a rock and you're like, "Oh, look at all these rocks around that I built because I was like, 'I can do it all.'" And,
that was a good point. Good point. Good point. Good point. But I know I'm like, okay, will this be challenging? Yes. Will this be that? Yes. And I don't know. Sometimes I do foresee it. And I know
yeah,
that I'm overcommitting, but sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So there
yeah.
you go.
I'd
Uh,
say her next comment, she said, "Interesting, during basket season, we do not add anything to our plates." And
no,
you guys
we say a lot of no's around
yeah.
that time.
Y'all are a great example of holding the top priority as the top priority, and like, if we y'all's passion trickles, so of course your team helps and things like that, but I mean, if y'all did not have the passion, the drive, making it the top priority at that time, it wouldn't be what it is now, and we wouldn't have, I've just so many hundreds of families were fed for over a week last November, if you don't know what we're talking about. But it just is amazing to watch. But that is a great example of you won't let anything even come 5 feet within the perimeter, right? You're like, no, no, it's a
No,
no, it's a hard no.
it's a
You're
hard no.
saying
Yes.
no in September and August to stuff because November's coming. Like, it's very clear. So that's a good lesson. I learned a lot watching you guys the last few years go
It's
through
like no.
basket season, and I do want to compliment you both. Y'all handle it way better this last year as far as y'all's personal stress levels.
I
I don't know.
agree.
I was proud to watch y'all go through it calmer, be able to catch a smile at the event because y'all aren't so stressed.
It was funny, but yes, it's a hard no. And I like that distinction that it's a hard no, it's a maybe. Sometimes you just have to put your foot down and be like, no. Because
Yeah,
then you do get into that point of overcommitment. You do get into that thing of, oh, there's just something else on my plate that's gonna stress me out even more.
yeah.
So overcommitment, Courtney.
We got to take that stuff off our plate, guys.
Yes.
Off
Take it
our
off your
plate if it
plate.
doesn't work. Yeah. So just that's our challenge for you today is just look at your plate. Just take out a piece of paper, draw you a plate in a circle. Okay. There are about 8 areas of life. What? Family, finances, career, health, and just make a little area like the wheel of life. And so you got one in your UPW notebook, guys, if you just attended Tony Robbins. But look at your wheel of life, look at it like a plate, and then just ask yourself what you need to take off and give yourself permission to give an honest answer.
Mm,
That's what's most important. Give yourself permission to be honest with yourself.
powerful. Powerful. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Force for Growth.
Yes.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Force for Growth. And remember to be a force for good
A force for growth.
and a force for greatness.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.